This is chapter 1-5, notes continued. You can copy your notes from 1-5, calculating the midpoint equation. Okay, so we've done and looked at segments or lines. I should do segment, excuse me. If I have a line segment that has points M, B, and C, we've talked about using the distance equation where we can calculate the distance from M and C using this equation here. And so on and so on. Please refer to your notes. Well, the question becomes, what happens if we want to know the distance from M to B instead of all the way from M to C? If I just want to know the midpoint, I can calculate that using this equation here. M, which represents the midpoint, equals x of 1 plus x of 2 in half, comma, because this is for the first order pair, and then y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided in half. This equation, again, will give you the point that's in the middle of both M and C, or whatever line segment that you have. Now, let's say we need to find the midpoint of G and H. I need to know exactly, is that midpoint here, 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 here? Where exactly is the midpoint located? And we can find that using the midpoint equation. Please take a moment to calculate or look at, and draw the graph here for G and H when this is x at 1 and y at 1. Alright, so here's our graph. The question is, what is the ordered pair for G and the ordered pair for H, or the coordinate values? Well, G is located at -1, up 1, 2, 3, so at -1, 3, and then H is located at 1, 2, up 2. Okay? And using the midpoint equation, which we just calculated here, okay, M is equal to x of 1 plus x of 2 in half, and then the y, to find the y coordinate, is y sub 1 plus y sub 2 in half. Now, we do the same thing that we did when we had the distance equation. We go back to G and H, and we determine or decide which ones do we want to make the 1 and which ones do I want to make the 2. Well, in this case, I want G to be 1 and H to be the 2's. Well, when I do that, this means that this is going to be, this -1 will be x sub 1, comma, and then the 3 will be the y sub 1 for the G's. And then for the H's, this 2 will be x sub 2, because I let the H be 2's, comma, and then the y sub 2. And now I can substitute for the equation. To calculate the midpoint, and the midpoint will be ordered pairs x and y. The midpoint is an x and y value. You'll see in just a moment. So substituting in the midpoint equation, x of 1, which we found is -1, plus x of 2, which we let be 2, divided in half, comma, and then the y sub 1, which we get the 3, plus the y sub 2, which we get here to be 2, divided in half. Now, solving this equation, we're going to see that -1 plus 2 is equal to a +1 in half, so 1/2, and then a 3 plus 2 in half will be 5/2. So my x value, because remember this is going to be an ordered pair, x is at 1/2, my midpoint is at 1/2 for x, and the y is going to be at 5/2. So we plot that. So x is equal to 1/2 for the midpoint, and the midpoint for the y is going to be 5/2. We can come down to the graph and plot that. So again, to find the midpoint between G and H, what's my x coordinate? It's 1/2. So I'm going to slide over. This is 1, I only need a half. And then I'm going to go 5/2 is equivalent to this is going to be 2 and 1/2. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and a half. Right? And then we can connect our line, or our line segment, I should say. And it should be fairly close there. Okay? And that's your midpoint equation.